So let's talk about how to get work without having a manager. I'm gonna show you what I do to get work without having a manager. What's up guys, my name is Shem Goltz and welcome to, I guess officially the first episode of the series that I finally started. I don't have a name yet. We need to think of a name for this series. I honestly don't know. It's something like Road to Becoming a Successful Actor in Los Angeles or Hollywood, or From Beginner to Successful Actor. I don't know, something like that. I need to figure out a name. Help me down in the comments below if you have any suggestions, but I'm sure we'll get to that very soon. By the way, if you couldn't tell from the last video, I shaved and got a haircut. What do you think? Do you prefer this look or the one from the previous video? Anyway, today I'll be talking about how to get work as an actor when you don't even have a manager. I think this subject is something that people don't really know even exists. They think that to be an actor you have to have a manager, and it's just impossible to, be a professional actor without a manager, which is not true. Especially in Los Angeles, there's so many different ways to get work that I'm gonna be talking about a few different things that I do for myself, because right now, as you may know, I do not have a manager. Gotta moisturize my lips, you know? You know what I'm saying? And by the way, the reason why I don't have a manager right now, it's not because I'm really a beginner actor or I don't have the skills yet. It's mainly because my visa is very temporary in the US, and in order to get a manager I first want to be more permanent in the US, and then it will be much easier for me to get a manager. But I mean, most people who watch this video are probably not like me, and they are US citizen and they don't really have any problems with visa, and they're just beginner actors who want to know how to build the resume and get experience before you even get a manager. Because to get a manager you need to show that you're a good actor, and how do you do that without a manager? I'll show you in this video. But before I talk about that, I kind of wanted to introduce myself a bit more in regards to my acting experience, because last video was more of an introduction. I didn't really talk about anything more acting specific, and so I wanted to kind of tell you guys where I come from and where I'm going in terms of acting. So my first memory of wanting to become an actor actually goes way back to when I was around 7-8 years old, living in Israel. At the time, my sister was 3 years younger than me, and she was signed to an agency and actually booked a few commercials. And I remember wanting to do the same and wanting to act, but I never told my parents because I thought she had something that I didn't, and that's why she was signed and I wasn't. I didn't know that if I just told them, they would have signed me as well, and I would have, taken acting classes. I kind of regret that now, but at the time I was young and I didn't know any better, so I'm not blaming myself or anything for that. And let's be honest, it's probably better to not become a big actor and start at a young age, because then you probably lose passion to it way faster and it's not sustainable. So that was my first experience, and honestly acting goes way back in my family. My mom, when she was 10 years old or so, she was the biggest actress in Israel, performing in like theater and stuff, and she told me that she used to be really famous. And so acting is not something strange in our family, really. I think I got it from my mom. And I remember when I was like 13-14 years old, walking in the street in Toronto, and I remember just walking in the street and feeling like people are watching me, and having this feeling of like I have to act and perform even on the street when no one is really watching me. But I always had that feeling, and even with my friends I would always pretend that I'm really stupid, and so I did it so well that they actually believed it and thought I was an idiot. And then later when I was like, no, I'm just kidding, I know, whatever, I'm not stupid, they're like, no, you actually thought so and so and you're dumb. And I was like, wow, am I a good actor because I can really pretend like I'm an idiot or like I'm smart, etc. So anyway, I was still shy at that point to come to my parents and be like, hey, I want to be an actor. But I remember when I was around 17 years old, 16, 17 years old, I took my first acting class in Toronto, Canada. I told my parents, look, I want to do this, and they helped me. They finally took me to an acting class. It was a really bad experience now looking back at it. The class honestly was the most stressful thing ever, and I was just a teenager at the time. Basically, they gave us a monologue, and every week we had to go into the class and perform it, and there was a camera rolling on us. It was basically a class to teach us how to do self-tapes and auditions correctly, but it was the most stressful thing ever, man. Anyway, moving forward, I've done that for a few months. Then I moved with my family to New Zealand, and that's where acting really took off for me. I found out about this teacher that was teaching Meisner technique. Now at the time I had no idea what the heck that was, but I heard really good things, and the teacher was one of Stanford Meisner's students. And so I'm not gonna go too much in depth into the technique. I think I'll dedicate another video for that, but basically every week for a year and a half I would go to that class and learn the technique, which basically works about, your listening skills and listening to the other person and taking all of the attention out of you and putting it on the other actor and basically working on your listening skills, etc. I'll explain more in a different video. Anyway, after a year and a half of studying it and also doing a few short films on the side in New Zealand, I decided to finally move to LA to pursue acting, and that's when, I took more acting classes. I took the Ivana Čabec technique and did more auditions and filmed more stuff. And this is getting long, honestly. I know I was gonna tell you how to get work without a manager, and this video is becoming all about myself, so I'm gonna stop now. Next video, I think I'm gonna talk about techniques and stuff, about acting and all that stuff, but let's just move into the main subject because I feel like I'm dragging on and on. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so let's talk about how to get work without having a manager. I'm gonna show you what I do to get work without having a manager. Now, there's a ton of options, especially in Los Angeles, but I'm gonna go over two main websites that I use to get work. This is my way of getting work. I'm sure other people will tell you differently. Yes, you can go on Craigslist if you want and find work for free, whatever. But the two main websites that I use are called Backstage and LA Casting. Those two websites are definitely legit. I've gotten work from them in the past, so I'm telling you that, they work. And I've gotten a few good jobs out of it that, already make it worth it, because yes, those two websites do cost money. They run on a monthly membership, and each one of them costs between 15 to 25 bucks a month. But trust me, they really are worth it for you if you want to take your acting to the next level. Each website works on the same premise, and it's very easy. You have to enter all of your information, your images, your headshots, all of that stuff, so you have a higher chance of getting selected. Once you do all that, and the most important thing is to probably have a reel. If you don't have an acting reel, I'll probably make a separate video about that, but basically that's the most important thing you can have as an actor. An acting reel is basically a resume that shows all of the different roles you've played, and that will be a very big factor into if you get a role or not. So each website you can customize, your niche in a way, like the ages that you can play. So mine is 15 to 25 years old. You obviously don't want to play a black dude who is 70 years old when you are like me, white 20-year-old male. You gotta make sure that you don't waste your time and that everything fits your description. Once you've done that, then you go into a role and you submit yourself for it. If you get selected, then most likely they will ask you to either come in room to do an audition or do a self-tape audition. Very rarely you'll get selected and they'll be like, yeah, you got the role, and you don't have to do any audition or anything to prove that you're good for the role. Usually you need to do some sort of audition for it. And I mean, yeah, that's basically it. I do the same thing for Backstage and LA Casting. I would go on those two websites and make sure I applied for every role that can fit my description, so I don't miss anything at all. I will sit for an hour or 2 hours, depending how long it takes in a day, do it, and then probably do it maybe once or twice a week. I'd say probably once every 2 to 3 days is good, because the website gets new roles, but if you do it every day, then you will spend 5 minutes and that will be it, because of all the roles you've already applied to, if that makes sense. But you don't want to do it once a month, because then you can spend 10 hours a day on applying for roles, and some of them will be already expired. So I think once or twice a week is a pretty good idea. And yeah, I mean, that's the first step to getting work without a manager. First you apply for the roles, and then once you get selected, then you go into the audition. Now in the next video, I'll probably be talking about what to do once you get an audition. What are the steps to accomplish to get a good audition and to actually get the role. I hope everything I said made sense. It's very simple. As a beginner actor, you really want to make sure that every project that fits your description, you want to submit to it. You don't want to be picky and only submit to the ones that you really want to work in. You have to submit to everything. Because keep in mind that not everything you submit to, you will actually get a call back to make an audition for. And then obviously the ones that want you to audition doesn't mean you will actually get the role. I know it's not a free way to get work, but trust me, it's still worth it. The $15 to $25 a month is nothing compared to the work you can get. You can literally get work that will pay you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, working on commercials, short films, movies, etc. And it's a great way to build your way into getting a manager, because if you do a bit of work on those websites in like a month or two, after everything is done, you can literally start contacting managers and, get a manager for you. Really, the only thing that the manager does that you don't have to do is submitting you to roles. The manager basically saves you time because you don't have to sit on your computer and apply for roles. He does it for you. But that doesn't mean necessarily that you'll get better roles or that you'll get more roles if you have a manager than if you don't. I've actually known actors that get less auditions than I do because I just grind and hustle and get my own auditions compared to the managers that get them less. Now, don't get me wrong, manager is still preferable as an actor, but it just saves you time, in my opinion, at the end of the day. Obviously, there's other benefits for having a manager, but that's how I see it right now, at least. So yeah, I'll link everything I talked about down below in the description. Again, as I mentioned, there are probably more ways to find work without a manager, like Craigslist and other shady websites, but those two are the ones that work for me, and after doing a lot of research about the subject, that's what I came up to in a conclusion. You can do your own research, obviously. I'm just trying to help you here and simplify everything in like a 5-10 minute video. So yeah, that's it, guys. In the next video, I'll be talking about what to do once you get an audition. And you know, most importantly, like what works for me and what I do, because I can't tell you what's the perfect way to prepare for an audition, but I can tell you what I do right now that works for me. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my new videos that I'm going to be uploading weekly now. Anyways, I will catch you guys in my next video, so peace out.